Are you struggling to come up with original content week in and week out? Start a podcast. Interview your ideal clients, let them talk about what they care about most, and never run out of content ideas again. Learn more at sweetfishmedia.com.
You're listening to the B2B Growth Show, a podcast dedicated to helping B2B executives achieve explosive growth. Whether you're looking for techniques and strategies or tools and resources, you've come to the right place. I'm James Carberry.
And I'm Jonathan Green.
Let's get into the show.
Welcome back to the B2B Growth Show. We're here today with Vaughn Aust. He is the EVP of Digital and Product at MarketStar. Vaughn, how you doing?
I'm awesome today, James. Glad to be on.
I'm really excited to chat with you today, Vaughn. We're going to be talking about predictive analytics and really how you can utilize predictive to accelerate sales. But before we dive into that, Vaughn, I'd love for you to just tell our listeners a little bit about MarketStar and what you guys are up to.
Yeah, so MarketStar, we actually just registered trademark sales as a service. And so we are an outsourced sales company. We've been doing that for 30 years for a lot of the Fortune 100 brands. But recently, we've really found a lot of growth in up-and-coming SaaS companies that are looking to do growth hacking and grow into new markets, new areas, and many times move downstream from enterprise to SMB as they evolve their product set. So sales as a service is what we do.
I love it. So Vaughn, in looking at kind of predictive analytics, obviously you guys doing sales as a service for your customers, predictive is something that's, a huge part of, I would imagine, the results that you're able to drive for your customers. As we were talking offline, you said, that there are a few things that people need to look at before they ever get started and starting to experiment with predictive. Can you talk through kind of what are things that people need to know before they go down the path of really trying to take advantage of predictive?
Yeah, I mean, predictive's kind of like really, really good reporting or analytics. Your data has to be in a pretty good spot. And by pretty good spot, it's got to be connected. So a lot of clients that we work with, they have their marketing system and their marketing data. They have their sales system and their sales data. They have their ERP and they have their, POS data there. And a lot of companies have got those connected. But if you don't, then I would definitely start with that, because predictive and machine learning is not a silver bullet to solve data that doesn't interconnect. And so I usually look at what clients are at. And it's interesting, a lot of our clients, we do those connections for them. We pull those data together into data warehouses and make it available for predictive and machine learning. But I would start there. And then the second thing is there's lots and lots and lots of data. And with machine learning specifically, it's okay to have lots of data. And so automating your data collection as much as possible through your marketing system, your sales system, and your point of sale will help you get a richer data set that will give you better results. And so I'd start with the data.
Got it. I love it. Makes perfect sense. And then let's say that, people have their data in order. They're ready to get going. Let's talk about kind of what all is possible with predictive analytics, kind of as they're going out and developing kind of they've got all the tech in place, they've got their data in line, they're ready to pull the trigger. What can they expect or what should they be looking to be able to do once they start really leveraging predictive?
Yeah, I think the number one thing to start with is a business problem that will provide value to their business. And it sounds simple, but a lot of times, me included, 3-4 years ago, I go to a conference, I hear some awesome things on how predictive and machine learning is being used in things like healthcare and policing. And I'm like, oh man, if we can apply that to sales in particular, that we've got something there. And so sometimes people just jump right into it. I take a step back and say, what is a key business problem or key question that I have that if I answer, it's going to provide real value? And then I would experiment and I would test and I would refine it before you blow it out into, changing the way that you do business, because it really has a potential to do that. But if you jump into that as the end in mind, this is going to change everything, I think you might be disappointed. And I've definitely been kicked in the teeth a number of times
Yeah.
and gone through that cycle with several clients where, okay, all right, let's go back and get something that we know we can derive business value from and move the team forward.
Got it. So could you share some examples, Vaughn, of some of business problems that can be solved by leveraging predictive analytics?
Yeah, I mean, where I saw it first surfacing was, there were software technology and companies that were adding, hey, we do AI, and they prioritize leads and opportunities, right? So you focus your effort on where you can predictively get the most good. The other is prospects, right? Once we figure out predictively what your best customer is or what they look like, then we'll go out and we'll use that same predictive score to apply it to others that look like that, have intent like that, and that may purchase from you. So that's been really the foundation area is how do you prioritize leads and opportunities? How do you prioritize prospects and go after very, very, very targeted prospects? But some of the exciting stuff that we've been playing around with and I've seen a lot of others doing is optimizing sales activities. Taking a look at where, what channel people are communicating in, what their preferences are, how their behavior changes based on how you communicate to them. The other is the message itself, what message resonates. And similar to marketing, right? What email message, what content resonates. You do the same thing in a sales conversation, right? What key phrases help you win, what key phrases help you lose. And so to me, that's a really, really exciting area because then a salesperson can focus on the sale and the conversation, not on all the busy work leading up to it. So it's an enormous efficiency gain.
For several years now, I've been using a graphic design service called Kappa 99. You've probably heard me talk about them on the show before because it's one of the best investments we've ever made in our business. For just $399 a month, you can get unlimited graphic design. Seriously, it really is unlimited. You can have them design your infographics, case studies, and all of your blog posts and social media graphics. They even do t-shirt designs, email signatures, and book layouts. So head over to b2bgrowthshow.com/design and sign up for their 15-day free trial. That's b2bgrowthshow.com/design. You're going to love it. All right, let's get back to this interview.
I was with a company out in San Francisco. It might have been close to a year ago. And they were telling me that they were just getting an enormous amount of inbound leads because they had written some content that was just ranked on the first page of Google. And so predictive for them, kind of the primary use case was, okay, we've got to figure out how to prioritize all the leads that are coming in. And as they were telling me that, I thought, man, like what a champagne problem to have. Like you're getting so many leads coming in that you're having to prioritize, which ones to go after. So I love, Vaughn, that you shared a couple other use cases of how you can use predictive, because I know a lot of folks listening to this don't have that champagne problem of having too many leads come in, but knowing that they can use predictive to figure out the messaging that's resonating, and along with a whole host of things that predictive can be used for, not necessarily just lead prioritization.
Absolutely. And for every client that has, because a lot of times clients will hire us to sell a new product into a new market or to go downstream, but the first thing we ask for is 2 years of sales data. And what we do with that sales data is we pinned any third-party data we can get on demographics and things they've done in the past. And we have some companies that can provide us with a digital footprint and how much it's growing over time. And we bring all these things in, and then we have a richer, this is what your ideal customer is, right? It's not just size of business, number of employees, vertical sold, the King 5. It's literally like there's 70 or 80 things that we can use to say this is what your best customers look like. But then you use that to go back and apply to find prospects. And there's several companies and software companies that are focusing on that. But the thing is with that level of variability of data, that's where the art comes in. And that's where I've kind of struggled a little bit with some software companies, because you still need to figure out what are those attributes and do that predictive intent on what your best customer is. And those data sources vary depending on the industry you sell in and what kind of thing you're selling. And so I've fallen down a little bit just on the surface buying software that says, hey, we will use predictive intent and machine learning to prioritize your leads and prospects because of that art that has to happen, pulling the data together and then creating the model. And I've kind of stopped looking to software to do that. I've actually got a team of analysts, and for clients, we do it based on a model that the analysts create based on what clients have available and what we can procure for them. And I've had better results than trying to plug into software to do lead and opportunity prioritization.
Interesting. Okay. So because I've seen a lot of software companies pop up that claim to do this, but in your experience, having an actual team in-house that's doing that has allowed you to see better results.
Well, it's a value, right? It's a value conversation. A lot of the, it's how much you're paying per month per rep, how many reps you have involved, and then what is the efficiency gain you'll get in prioritization versus, having an analyst that runs lots of different models, lots of different things. And I've found higher predictive intent using in-house analysts, not because they're better than the software companies, but the software companies are trying to go against a broad base, right? And anytime you've got that level of variability of, the data that you can collect and who you're selling into, it makes it tough. Now, the software company we've had really, really good success with is a company called Gong. And I think the reason why we've had such good success with them is because they have a really stable data set, right? They do speech to text, and then they know that is the data that they're going to run machine learning on and AI on, and so they can build that into their software. And we've had a lot of success using them to enable man to find places to coach reps.
I love it. Okay. So Vaughn, this has been super helpful in kind of what folks should be looking for before they get started, what they can do with predictive, once they do get started, or really almost like knowing what you're going to want to solve, the business case for what you're wanting to do predictive with before you ever get started in the first place. And then also being careful, looking at software to do predictive when you might be able to get better results because of the more granular kind of data set that you're looking at by doing something in-house. Is there anything else kind of related to predictive analytics, Vaughn, that you think listeners should understand before I let you go today?
Yeah, I'd say predictive analytics is I don't know, I always use colorful terms. It's kind of like lighting a fire with matches, right? It's not quite the Stone Age, which I would consider segmentation and all those fun kinds of things. But the thing about predictive is if you get predictive right and you can start using correlation, then when you get to the point of having massive data and using machine learning, that's like using a flamethrower. So to me, it's a journey of getting your data right, running some predictive correlation, and then you get into AI and machine learning, which is, they can take hundreds of different attributes. You don't have to have an analyst that boils it down to a few, and you can find correlations that you would never think of.
I love it.
So for me, that's the exciting frontier, which is, once you get your data at least where it's interconnected, then it doesn't matter how much you have because machine learning will be able to handle it.
I love it. Vaughn, this has been fantastic. If there's somebody listening to this, they want to stay connected with you, they want to learn more about MarketStar, what's the best way for them to go about doing that?
Yeah, absolutely. Connect with me on LinkedIn. It's Vaughn, Vaughn.Aust. I'd love to hear from you. If anyone's got some projects going or things they're interested in or advice they'd want, I've definitely been kicked in the teeth a few times in the last 3 years in this area, and I'd love to help out.
Love it. Wonderful, Vaughn. Well, thank you so much for your time today. This has been fantastic. I really appreciate it.
There are lots of ways to build a community, and we've chosen to build the B2B growth community through this podcast. But because of the way podcasts work, it's really hard to engage with our listeners. And without engagement, it's tough to build a great community. So here's what we've decided to do. We're organizing small dinners across the country with our listeners and guests. No sales pitches, no agenda, just great conversations with like-minded people. We'll talk business, we'll talk family, we'll talk goals and dreams. We'll build friendships. So if you'd like to be a part of a B2B growth dinner in a city near you, go to b2bgrowthdinners.com. That's b2bgrowthdinners.com. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time.